the start of a grand adventure.
While not being the series that made the franchise big here in the States, it's still the one that I remember watching fondly when it did air in its entirety on the block that we all know and love, Toonami. Now you're probably wondering why I'm doing this review series, and it's because it's an idea I've been kicking around for a redux back at the beginning of the year, as I felt like my old review didn't age well in the slightest. And for those of you that don't know, Dragon Ball turns 40 this year, so it seems like a no-brainer to do. But when I knew immediately I should do it is when Akira Toriyama passed away back in March of this year. So this one's not only for redeeming a shoddy attempt at a review of Dragon Ball, but also the maker himself, Akira Toriyama sensei. Let's get started. Toriyama Sensei was getting off of his hit manga that made him a popular manga overnight, Dr. Slump, and was wanting to do a story inspired by Journey to the West. And after a one-shot to test the waters and then finalize designs, we got what we know as Dragon Ball. Looking back, it's crazy to think how far the cast has come in terms of power scaling and character development, as understated as it is. Who could have saw just how big the series would not get just in Japan, but the entire world? Now, what is the plot of Dragon Ball? Well, it doesn't start off as an epic, if that's what you're thinking. No, don't be fooled into thinking it was always like Dragon Ball Z. The series started because Bulma wanted to gather all the Dragon Balls for the perfect boyfriend. You see, the series, when it first came out, was more of a gag series, much like Dr. Slump, rather than an action series with high stakes. Just like Super Saiyans, this was just one of the many forms that Dragon Ball would take, as it frequently changed to what Akira Toriyama was interested in writing at the time. Bulma is already pretty knee-deep in her quest for the Dragon Balls by the time she meets our main character Son Goku, or as Bulma calls him, Sun-kun. Just like any gag, they get off on the wrong foot until Goku finds out she's a girl. His late Grandpa Gohan always taught him to treat a girl nice, so he takes her back home and that's how she finds the Dragon Ball. From there she makes him an offer to see the world, when in actuality, she's wanting him as her own personal bodyguard. Yeah, Bulma starts off pretty selfish, if you can't tell, but her layers develop from there, and just like Goku, her eyes are open to the new horizons from there. The adventure begins. Goku is naive, pure, and insanely strong for being 11 at the time. He was just a kid that was left behind by his actual parents and taken in by Grandpa Gohan, pre-retcons. It's not something that he thinks about frequently, as Goku's always been a character that never sullies in negative emotions for too long. Goku may seem harmless, but that's something that fools just about everyone until he starts throwing punches. Bulma starts off pretty selfish and full of herself, but she does get more depth as the story goes along, with her and Goku helping people in need, so she's not all bad, just flawed. She's also boy crazy. I'm not joking, this girl is down bad. She needs her thirst quenched, if you know what I mean. She's also quite perverted early on too, not in an obvious way like Master Roshi, but in a way where she's willing to show some skin if it means that she gets what she wants. Bulma is also smart when it comes to tech, but when it comes to common sense, not so much. Characters they meet along the way are ones that'll be important down the line, like Master Roshi, who's grateful to them for helping out a friend, so in return he gives Goku the Quinton, and offers to train him later when his journey is done. There's also Oolong, who starts off as a pervert too and terrorizes a small village using his shapeshifting ability, and then becomes a reluctant ally. For the longest time watching the English dub up until 2017, on the low I thought he was a pedophile, until I watched the sub version where he's actually younger. So he was a kid the whole time, is what I was thinking whenever he first met Goku and Bulma. Okay, that makes more sense. Goku also meets Chi-Chi and Ox King. They were around early on, but don't become more frequent until pretty much the end of the first half of Dragon Ball as a whole. Goku also meets Puar and Yamcha, who started off as a desert bandit that can't talk to girls. Oh, that's rich. That's funny as hell. Goku and Co. meet many more characters along the way, having all kinds of gags occur, and I have to say, thanks to the writing, I enjoyed this series for the laughs it produced. The writing is something I don't see a lot of people really commend, because Toriyama, while not creating the deepest characters ever, did give these characters personality, and for the first arc, pretty decent character arcs, with some of his initial antagonists becoming allies later down the line, except for the Pilaf gang. Some could and do call them the OG Team Rocket, and I can see why. These guys are some of my favorite characters in all of Dragon Ball. I love the Pilaf gang. The way these three work off each other for gags is hilarious, and they are just utterly confused by the youth throughout. They're not outright villainous, as they're antagonistic in a humorous way, because they also want the Dragon Balls, so Pilaf can become ruler of the world. The art style is almost pinpoint the same as it was in the manga, and the animation is even decent throughout as well to start. Though one thing a lot of anime have a problem at some point during their run is pacing, but not this one. Okay, spoiler alert for those of you that haven't seen it and don't want to be spoiled. Bulma and Yamcha's arcs ended in a respectable fashion. The only massive error that I can point out is the fact that when Goku goes to the moon to deliver the Rabbit Gang, he doesn't go Great Ozuru, and that's probably because Toriyama didn't think of it until the end of the arc, which, believe me, up to this point was a solid twist that Goku had been this raging giant beast because of his tail, a plotline that was built up for a good majority of the arc, starting from the very beginning. See, we get bits and pieces of info about Grandpa Gohan here and there. For starters, that he's not around anymore, and then how recent it was, and then finally what killed him. The others figured out that it was Goku, but Goku doesn't know it was him as he loses his memory while going Grade 8. It was pretty well done, and something I have to commend Toriyama for. I will give the Pilaf saga a recommendation. What you have to know about Dragon Ball before going into it is it's more of a martial arts comedy rather than what it's known for in Z. As long as you know that and see the gradual build up to what it eventually becomes, I think you'll enjoy it a lot more.
One down, many more to go. Next up is not just a beloved arc within all of Dragon Ball, but within all of Shonen.